Hi there, thanks for dropping into my shop. Today I'm doing part 2 of turning a Christmas tree ornament. Now in the last video I showed how I turned the globe for it. If you missed that, I'll put a link in the description box below the video so you can find that. Today I'm going to show you how I turned the finial that's going to hang by and the icicle. Now there's a problem with this. I don't like it. Particularly the icicle. It's just too thick and chunky looking. It should be much thinner, perhaps longer, and just more delicate looking. You don't want to hang an anvil on your Christmas tree, that's for sure. So something this heavy, or at least heavy looking, it's just not going to be right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the process of making what you see here, and then I'm going to show you how to make it better. So I hope you'll stick around and watch. Enjoy. First thing I'm going to do is turn this little blank round. It's not quite square, but 1 1/8 inch is nominally what it's at. 3 3/4 of an inch long. I'm going to be turning this at 2000 RPM and using my roughing spindle gouge. Alright, I want to put a tenon on this end now. I want to bring it down to 3/4 of an inch so it can fit into my collet chuck. I had these calipers set to 49/64 of an inch, just 1/64 over the 3/4 I want, and now I think it should fit just fine. Move it across and see. Oh, I need to take just another hair off of there. And there, I'm ready for it. I'm just going to put this in the collet chuck, but before I do that, I want to undercut this lip just a little bit using a 1/4 inch spindle gouge. Now I just want to see if that is undercut enough to fit on here properly. Yes, absolutely. Alright, I'll put this into the collet chuck and start shaping this. I've got the live center up in here for a little support. Just because I'm going to use the parting tool to take this off, I only want 1.5 inches of this. And I'm going to use my small saw to cut that off just so I don't end up with a hole when I go through there. Sometimes it'll tear the fibers out in the end and you end up with a hole. I've put these lines in here just as a bit of a guide for transition points, although I'm not going to stick strictly to them necessarily. I'm going to start from here, do a bit of a cove in this area and bring this down to 1/4 of an inch, just roughly. Alright, just a little dimple in the center. I'll be able to put a small drill bit in there. Alright, I've got a 1/16 inch bit in a piece of scrap walnut I had, and it's not even glued in there because there's not much pressure from a 1/16 inch bit. If it was a larger bit, I'd use a larger piece of wood. I don't need much purchase here. Just use my tool rest to steady my hand, and I'll drill that in there. About half the length of that bit should be plenty. I'll just thread this in here to make sure it's going to go in all right. Alright, now it's time to go on to turning the icicle. Alright, here's the piece I'm going to use for the icicle. Now you can see that it was split at one time. I repaired it with CA glue, and I think I'm going to be turning all of that away anyhow. I'm going to be turning it down to 1 1/4" cylinder, and I've got these calipers set to 1 1/4". Now why different calipers? Just to show there's always more than one way to do these things. I'll be turning at 2000 RPM using my spindle roughing gouge. The height of this part and the finial is a total of 3 inches. I want the icicle to be double that. And this just happens to be 6 inches. Now I've drawn a sketch of what I want the icicle to look like, and I'm going to transfer these marks I've made for each transition point and start to turn this. Okay. All right, I have the live center up here for a little support if I should need it. I'll start turning at the farthest end from the headstock and move my way back this way. I should probably mention, before I reversed this into the collet chuck, I sanded this first 1.5 inches to 400 grit. just so that I don't have to get in there and sand again and put any tool marks in this area. I'm turning at 2000 RPM. This could be bad. Need to force that back in there. Apparently I didn't tighten that enough. This bead area, I'm taking that down to 1/2 inch in diameter. And I just realized people are probably wondering, why don't you just knock a bunch of the mass off of there real quickly? It's because every cut I make, I consider a practice cut. I do it for the pleasure of doing it. I'm not in a hurry, I'm not a professional, and I just enjoy doing it. So I will slowly work my way down to 1/2 inch. And of course, if I didn't change my mind while turning it, you wouldn't believe it was me turning. I never seem to be able to follow my own plans. I always change my mind partway through. Now I want to take that end off of this finial. There is still evidence of the hole in the end from the point of the live center. So I have to keep drawing this back until I get rid of that. I'm getting a little vibration now, so I'll have to put my finger across here just to support that a little bit. And I'm going to go with my 1/4 inch spindle gouge. Alright, I'm just going to sand this little bit and I'll be right back when I have that done. Alright, now I've got this finished with the Yorkshire grit and the Hampshire sheen. and I have no intention of coming back to it again. I'm going to take the pin out of the live center, put some of this over the end, and then bring the live center up just to support it a little bit. Now I want this area to be at 3/4 of an inch. And just to show you I can do things quickly, I'm going to bring that down to 3/4 of an inch with my parting tool. Alright, close enough. Now I'm going to do the same thing, bring this one down to the dimension I need there. Alright, those are ready to go. Now I'm going to start tapering it rather, from this dimension right down to this bead. I'll take this out as well because it's just going to be in the way. Alright, I'm going to sand and finish up to here, then I'll take this part off. Now what I want to do is create a fairly steep slope from here down into this area, creating a bit of a cove. I changed my mind again because I decided I didn't want to come down quite as steeply as it was going to be. I think it was a little too much. So now I'm going to sand this and finish the rest of it and put it together. I'll be back. Alright, now be honest, which one do you like better? This one or this one? For my eye, there's no comparison. I like this much better. It's lighter looking, more delicate looking, and I just think it's superior. Now I used exactly the same techniques to turn this icicle and this finial as I used on those. So it's just a matter of changing your design a little bit and coming up with something that pleases you. And I hope this pleased you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, click the like button so I know that I'm doing something right. Feel free to share this with your friends if you like, and don't forget to subscribe. I hope you'll come back next time, and in the meantime, have a great day in your shop and be safe. Take care.